I bring a little good news to you. We believe that there will be a major wave coming up from Johor. But the wave would hopefully not recede in the coming week. I think the coming week will be a critical week for Pakatan Rakyat to ensure that we can actually achieve victory on the 5th of May. What you are seeing now, every single day, I'm forced to read it, you are not, but I'm forced to read it. Every single day in the newspapers, every single day, pages after pages of advertisements. The same strategy that MCA Barisan Nasional have used for the past umpteen elections. A vote for DAP equals to a vote for PAS. I think in the past, we will have been extremely worried in the past. But this time round, we are taking them on head on. We will say, so what? So what? In fact, we were well prepared to be using the moon as our logo for this campaign when they decided not to recognize our Central Executive Committee, which put us in a jeopardy because then I cannot receive my authorization letter from my Central Executive Committee to contest under DAP with the rocket symbol. I have already memorized Ye Liang Dai Bia Water Sim, ready to use already. But thankfully they backed off and then they allowed us to continue using our logo. What is perhaps more important to emphasize in these elections is this. A vote for DAP is indeed a vote for PAS. A vote for PAS is a vote for PKR. And a vote for PKR is a vote for DAP. Because we are in a single coalition with the single objective of putting Barisan Nasional out of power on the 5th of May. But we cannot be complacent. We cannot be complacent because these advertisements do work. They do work with a segment of the community which is not insignificant. You get scared. On the days when they started bombarding the newspapers with this fear, this threat on the people, I walked the streets. Today, yesterday in Kluang, the question was, sure support you one. Don't worry, we sure support Rocket one. The Chinese lah. But is moon can trust or not? Really or not? The newspaper say this, you know. True or not? And they are using a very clever strategy. They are using how clever a strategy? They advertise only in the Johor section of the newspapers. They don't advertise in the national section. Or they do, but only on certain issues. They advertise in the Johor section over the last 2 days that if Pakatan Rakyat comes to power, Bursa Malaysia will be closed. They advertised in the newspaper yesterday, if Pakatan Rakyat comes to power, you will have no beer to drink. They think Johorians have never been to Selangor. They said that if Pakatan Rakyat were to win, there will be no entertainment outlets. I have a different set of problem in Port Taling Jaya. When developers want to build entertainment outlets, it's not the MPPJ don't want to approve, it's the residents that objecting. Every time have to do public hearing, saying, hey, there's enough cinemas in Petaling Jaya already lah. We don't need any more cinemas in Damansara Jaya. Right or not? Is it because Pakatan Rakyat is in power? No. If we were to come to power, there will be no advertisements in newspapers. It actually said that. The advertisement in Sinju, in the Chinese papers in Johor, actually said, if Pakatan Rakyat is to come to power, no more product advertisements. That is the extent of lies and fears that they are trying to instill into the people of Johor so that they continue to support Barisan Nasional. And it has its effects. And it's important for us to help allay the fears of our fellow Malaysians in Johor that we have had a Pakatan Rakyat for the last 5 years. We have had none of this nonsense that my MCA Barisan Nasional is talking about. Chua Sui Lek. Can I repeat his name again? Chua Sui Lek. I think Rama just need to keep mentioning his name, can really. He can come out with the advertisement to say that there will be no more entertainment outlets in Johor, in Malaysia, if Pakatan were to win power. But he was the one. Not that sort of entertainment now. He was the one who was complaining that under Pakatan Rakyat administration in Selangor, there are more foot massage outlets, reflexology outlets in Klang than bak kut teh stalls. I don't know why he knows that. But as far as I know, there are quite a lot of bak kut teh stalls in Klang. Quite difficult to outnumber them. But the point is, he himself said there are a lot of these outlets in Selangor, and yet he go and tell Johorians that, oh, be careful lah, after this semua tak ada, semua tutup, semua potong. I think the one that is most afraid of potong is... But I think it is a real problem that we face. And it is important for us to convey the message that we cannot win Putrajaya if our partners in Pakatan Rakyat, PAS and PKR do not win as well. Rocket might be fine. You say, wow, I like you, Rocket, show support on it. Yes, so Rocket might win. There will be more Rockets in Parliament, but we will just become the biggest opposition party in Parliament. There is no change that we all want. The only way we can achieve complete change and get rid of those rubbish is to make sure that every one of Pakatan Rakyat parties manages to win their seats in the coming elections. It means that every Chinese must give their votes to PAS, every Malay must give their vote to Rocket, all Malaysians must give their vote to PKR. Then only we can succeed in our objective of winning power in Putrajaya. There is no other way. You cannot pick and choose. There is no picking and choosing. And you can be assured that unlike MCA in Barisan Nasional, unlike MIC in Barisan Nasional, the Pakatan Rakyat coalition is a coalition of equals. The expected number of seats if we were to win in Putrajaya, as mentioned by Saudara Lim Kit Siang, 45 seats for PKR, 40 seats for PAS, 40 seats for DAP. With that, we would have 125 seats. The difference is that we do not have a taikor. We do not have a taikor. The way to work in such an environment is everyone must agree to all policies before it can be formalized as a policy to be implemented in this country. And that is why we have a common policy framework. And that is why we have a joint manifesto. And in the common policy framework, in the joint manifesto, there is no hudud mentioned anywhere in that document. And I think the position of the DAP has been clear from day one. In 2002, when the issue arose, we were prepared to end the coalition, to end the Pakatan at that point in time, the alternative, the Barisan Alternative at that point in time, to ensure that our principles are not compromised. DAP is a party based on integrity and principles, and we will never sell out to the people, no matter what the rewards of power may bring to us. So the people of Malaysia can be assured that their rights will be protected. And we want to tell the people of Malaysia, if we come into power, we will not be extremists like Barisan Nasional. You look at MCA, these elections, they said that these will be their elections that is make or break. Don't need to break them, they are breaking themselves. Before election even start, Kuantan give to UMNO. Wangsa Maju give to UMNO. Their incumbency, Lim Kiat Siang want to go there, start shivering, give to UMNO. This is no longer a party that is fighting for the cause of the rakyat. And this is no longer a party which can stand on their own 2 feet. They are under the thumbs of UMNO. When you look at the nomination of Zulkifli Nordin, I mentioned this on Saturday, Insya-Allah, as the candidate for Barisan Nasional, these extremists, racist, religious bigots, nominated as a candidate for Barisan Nasional. Insya-Allah. This is the man who walked past an Indian store and laughed at the Indian store. Hey, your store got flooded, Look at all your statues, all broken. Your God not very strong, And if your God is strong, the water wouldn't have entered your shop. It would have entered into the Indian Muslim shop next door. It's not funny. This is the type of people that has no place in Malaysia, much less in the Malaysian Parliament, and yet Barisan Nasional nominated him as the candidate for Shah. And after hearing the protest from the people, what did Najib say? Oh, don't worry. He has regret, he has repented. Look. They showed you a picture of what? An Indian kissing him. If he is really regretful of what he did, he should be kissing the Indian, not the Indian kissing him. What did Najib say? After the Indian kiss him, Zulkifli Nordin will be the savior of Indians. He will champion Indian issues in Parliament. And what did Charles Wele say? Zulkifli Nordin is already remorseful. They are just like, just saying like him. They are just apologies for UMNO. When MCA attacks us, 1 vote for DAP equals to 1 vote for PAS. If we had the money to put up advertisements like they do, we would say 1 vote for MCA equals to 1 vote for UMNO equals to 1 vote for Perkasa. I wanted to bring Khalid Samad here as a direct contrast between a past leader and a Barisan National candidate. Khalid Samad will be standing in Shah Alam, a direct contrast with Zulkifli Nordin. When we had a land issue for a temple in Shah Alam, where the residents, 90% majority Malay Muslims, wanted to get rid of the temple, who stood up to defend the temple? Who stood up to say that we in Malaysia have freedom of religion and Hindus have right to build their own temples, to pray to their own gods? Khalid Samad, despite the fact that he may lose votes from the Muslim Malays in Shah Alam, he was willing to stand up for what is right. Despite the fact that he comes from an Islamic party, he tells us that Islam does not prohibit others and should never prohibit others from practicing their religion. In contrast, Zulkifli Nordin, what did he do during that episode? He was telling people, inciting people, protesting against giving the award of that piece of land to the Indian temple to build their place of worship. The incitement got so bad, they chopped off a cow's head, bleeding at the neck, brought it to the state government's office to protest, to kick around the head like a football. That is the degree of hatred that UMNO, Perkasa, Barisan Nasional is trying to bring to this country. And this is the type of sensitivity, hatred that again has no place in this country. And to end it, the only way is to make sure that UMNO loses big time in the coming general elections. While I am away, I didn't lose track of what's happening in Petaling Jaya. Still read the papers, still read the internet. Very worried that I lose Petaling Jaya Utara while I'm away. But yours. But it is very sad that a few days ago, last week, a senseless murder took place. Other speakers may have spoken about it. I will repeat it again. Irene Chang, walking around the Bukit Gasing Park, was senselessly robbed, stabbed, and killed. She's not the only one. There's been many other cases of crime with various degrees of severity. The people of Petaling Jaya live without security. You are not safe, and that is why you have to fork out so much money yourself to build gated communities all over you. You put up boom gates, they are illegal. We close one eye. Why? Security is paramount. You have no choice but to pay money to build boom gates and hire your own security guard. What did UMNO say when I raised this point? That people don't feel safe. That people don't feel safe, that's why they turn their homes into war zones. Barrels, oil barrels all over the place. If you don't have money, if you got money, you build the boom gates and barriers. The richer areas have their own access card to enter an open public taman. And you know what our UMNO rep say? UMNO rep from Kota Belud, who stays in Ampang, Abdul Rahman Dalan. He said, building boom gates and gated community is nothing to do with security. We build boom gates in order to have exclusivity. I said, hello? Yeah, we build boom gates so that those Surat Khabar Lama people won't come into our taman. This was in Parliament. Don't believe me? Check the answer. This was in Parliament. They have completely no understanding of the type of fear the people in urban centers feel with regards to their security. And the police can tell you, tak ada masalah. The Home Minister Hishamuddin can tell you we are very safe. You know what? Our government transformation program annual report by Najib declared we are safer than Singapore. We are safer than Singapore. I don't know how they can actually make that statement with a straight face. They are professional liars. Some of you may have heard it from me, but I'll quote the statistics again. The government tells us our street crimes, snatch thefts, have reduced by 40% in 3 years. Oh, not bad, huh? Our overall crime, 2007 to 2011, have reduced by 25%. Very commendable achievement. But is this what the people are feeling? Have the crime situation improved over the last 5 years? Do you feel any safer? If you do feel safer, I will see the boom gates being dismantled. Why? Because if you are safe, you don't pay any more money. The more money you don't want to pay, then the RAs cannot put up the boom gates and hire security guards anymore. Very easy one. Very easy one. But that's not the case. What we get is more and more Tamans want their communities to be gated and blocked. But how do we know if the statistics was not true? Thankfully, there was a whistleblower sometime the end of last year. The whistleblower came out saying that the police are manipulating the statistics. The statistics are being manipulated. We can guess that might be the case, but we had no evidence. But this time around, we had something solid to clutch to. And we asked, what exactly is being manipulated? We found out that while the police tells you index crime statistics, the crime index statistics, there's actually a non-index crime statistics as well. Huh? Crime is crime lah. Index is just how much crime lah. But there's apparently a non-index crime. What exactly is non-index crime? If I see this auntie here, I go to her, want to punch her, want to get money from her, she gives me $50, I run, that is an index crime. Or I go to her with a knife, want to stab her, if she doesn't give me money, I run away with 500 ringgit, that is an index crime. But if I have a pen knife in my pocket, or a supposed weapon, I go to her, I ask for money, she gives me, I run away, that is a non-index crime. That's the right answer. Huh? Huh? Why? Why? We ask. And the explanation from the Chief Inspector of Police, IGP, Inspector General of Police, is because if there's a pen knife in the pocket found, that means there's a hidden intent to harm. And therefore, he's being charged under intent to harm, which is a lesser crime compared to snatch theft. So cases are being shifted to non-index crime. I give you another example. Your house. If you break in. I go in, I found jewelry, I found passport, I found money, I take away everything, run. That is an index crime. But if I, for example, went into Lau Eng San's house, stupid lah, never do research. DAP candidate, where got money one? Break into his house, tear up his sofa, turn his bed upside down, bring out all his clothes, break down his cupboards, completely destroy his kitchen, went away empty-handed. Non-index crime. So what has happened? What has happened is the police has been shifting the types of crime to non-index crime so that your crime index looks very good. Went down 40% street crime, went down 25% overall crime. And what happened to non-index crime figures over the past 4 years from 2007 to 2011? What happened? It went up by 69%. So on one hand, they tell you, see, our achievement so good, went down by 25%. This is janji di third party. On the other hand, you see non-index crime, which is not published anywhere. We only found out by accident. Went up by 69%. And I wanted to know more. And I asked in Parliament, I asked the Home Minister for answers. And by right, they are obliged to answer. I asked, what exactly is this non-index crime? Can you break it down for me by district, by constituency, by type, by state? The answer came back. Non-index crime is not very regular, not very significant, not very important, so you don't need to know the statistics. That was the answer from the minister. And I can tell you, parliamentary convention is like this. I ask you stupid question, how many cows are there in this country? If the Ministry of Agriculture has the number, he has to provide me. It doesn't matter why I ask. If he has the number, how many cows are there in this country, he is supposed to give me the number of cows that are in this country. There's no such thing as trivial question, non-trivial question. I can tell you trivial questions are asked all over the place in Parliament. It is the important questions that Barisan Nasional Ministers refuses to answer in Parliament. And up to today, the ministers are still telling us crime is not a problem, perception is. You only think that there is crime. You only think that there is fear, and therefore your problem is not crime, your problem is your mental problem. So in order to solve your mental problem, the government in 2013 budget, this line came specifically from the budget. I'm not twisting words, I'm not making up numbers. 272 million ringgit allocated for the government to reduce the crime perception index. Not crime index, not 272 million to reduce crime index. It is 272 million to reduce the crime perception index. To put it very simply, brainwashing budget lah. We need to put out advertisements every day telling you can walk out on the streets, not worry, no need to be careful, can carry all your bags, let your sister, let your mother go out on their own, not a problem. We have a government that has failed to address the issue of security, particularly in urban areas. And why are urban areas targeted? Because urban areas are generally more affluent and hence the target for those who want to commit crime. And that is why we need a government that really pays attention to crime fighting. Why are we having so much difficulty in fighting crime? Do we not have enough police officers? We do. We actually have enough police officers. We have about 120,000 police officers. Approximately 1 police to 240 residents, which is very good by international standards. So the question we need to ask is, why then are we not effective in fighting crime? The reason is very simple. Out of 120,000 police officers, only 8% is allocated to crime investigation department. 8%, which means about 9,000 over police officers. You have the same number, or nearly the same number, of police officers in special branch. Some of you are here. Hi. I didn't say anything wrong, Some of whom are here protecting people like me are so privileged. $9,000 over special branch members allocated to look after the politics or politicians of this country, compared to the same 9,000 police officers used to fight crime. 9%, that's only 18%. 8%, that's only 16%. Where are the rest? No lah. 30%. 30% goes to your FRU, your Light Strike Force, and your General Operations Force. 30%. When are they used? When Bresay goes to the street. When is GOF used? General Operations Force used? You read the budget, there's allocation for each of these divisions. And inside the budget, it tells you the objectives of each of these units. The objective of the General Operations Force is to fight communism. You know, there was a period in 2009 when the NKRA for crime was first launched. Our roads were actually quite packed with police officers, roadblocks everywhere, pondok panas everywhere, right or not? There was a period, about 6 months to 8 months. That time, crime actually did go down. We felt it. The residents felt it. Okay, crime did go down. Where did these extra police officers come from? General Operations Force. So what happened after that? After they see the crime go down, they just take them back. They did not reallocate them to fight crime. And after you add the 30%, there's still 30, 46, there's still another 56%, 54% missing. What are they doing? 40%? 40% of the police force are administrators, managers, and logistics. Admin, management, and logistics, 40%. So obviously the police isn't structured to deal with the single biggest issues facing the people today, that is their role and responsibility, fighting crime. And in our Pakatan Rakyat Manifesto, we have stated it very clearly. If we were to come to power, we will restructure the police force to ensure that at least double the number of people dedicated to fight crime will happen during our rule. And while we will double the number of people who will be allocated to fight crime, we will at the same time triple the budget allocated to the police force dedicated to fighting crime. That is our commitment to ensure that people can live in peace and security. And even if the overall statistics, after taking into account the non-indexed and the indexed crime, even if you add these two together, even if there is a 2-3% decline, can you attribute it to the success of the police of Barisan Nasional? No. Why cannot? 2 reasons. Number 1, how many of you actually report crimes that happen? I've been to so many resident association meetings. They complain about it. I ask, do you report or not? Ayo, very mafan lah, go and report to police station. Wait so long, then police officers tell you, don't bother lah, you know, cannot catch one, you know. So number of reported cases could have gone down. And number 2, in 2007, the gates in PJ were not up like the gates in PJ today. It is not. Today, the barricades are a lot more than it was before. And if that didn't reduce crime, then I do not know what else to. So a lot of the crime reduction exercise has come from the work of the residents themselves and cannot be credited to Barisan Nasional or the police force. The people of PJ have to pay extra taxes, indirect taxes, to protect themselves, because their tax money to the government are not being utilized efficiently to protect their safety and security. And we want to remove this burden from the people so that the people in PJ and all urban centers in Malaysia will have lower cost of living. The hidden cost of living that is not included in any inflation index. That is one. And then I want to go to one favorite topic of mine. Highways. Barisan Nasional says, if we were to implement our manifesto, that is to remove toll or to reduce toll significantly for highways that are making astronomical profits. Barisan Nasional says we will be making gigantic losses. We will bankrupt the country because we need to pay compensation amounting to hundreds of billions of ringgit. Wow, if really have to pay hundreds of billions of ringgit, Malaysia memang akan bankrupt lah. Okay, before I continue with how much toll that you pay to these toll companies, I'll tell you how much toll you pay us tonight. 36,300 ringgit. Thank you very much. I'll give you the example of the Lebuh Raya Damansara Puchong right outside this taman. After reading the prospectus, which was about a year or two after I joined DAP, I tell you, I really joined the wrong party. The cost of building the highway, 1.327 billion ringgit. 1.3 billion, already marked up. Yes, a lot of people tell me already marked up already. In the prospectus to the stock exchange, they already tell you how much profits they will make for the next 30 years. How much? 18.8 billion ringgit net of profits, or 47% annual returns. Sibei ho tang. Guaranteed, no? Guaranteed, The question is, if we were to take over, what do we have to pay as compensation? When Barisan Nasional recently reduced a few tolls under pressure from the people and from Pakatan Rakyat, how did they do it? They tell the toll company, don't worry, you reduce 50 cents, we pay you compensation for the 50 cents. So, left hand out, right hand in. No difference. The people still pay for the toll. But the way they work essentially is, if we want to buy back the toll concession, the government say we must pay these concessionaires for the next 30 years of profits. If we have to pay the next 30 years of profits, might as well let them earn slowly. Why pay them upfront now? Right or not? And we have looked at the agreement. The agreement is very clear. I have read it myself, so I'm not telling you bullshit here. I have read it myself. The agreement says very clearly, to buy the highway back for the government, you just need to pay for the cost of construction. There is no future profits that you need to compensate for in order to take back this highway. So based on calculations, to take back the LDP, we only need 600 million. You tell me the government doesn't have 600 million to buy back? God. And we will not pay future profits. Why let the concessionaires, the crony, make all the money? Better this money be returned to the people. Whatever the people save can be reused and recycled in the economy to boost domestic consumption and growth. I want to give you a better example. You know the Maju Expressway? Yeah? The one from Sri Petaling go all the way down to Putrajaya one. That Maju Expressway, the cost also 1.3 billion. But the difference is this. The difference is the government, when privatizing the highway, gave them a grant of 960 million ringgit. 75% of the cost already borne by the government. My question is, If the government is already going to pay 75% of the cost of the highway, why privatize it in the first place? Why privatize it in the first place? There's only another 360 million left. You tell me the government, after giving 960 million, cannot give another 300 million to pay for the highway. So what has happened is essentially the people paid for the construction of the highway, and after the highway has been constructed, the people continue to pay toll to use the highway. We are being raped twice. And the boss of this MEX, Maju Expressway, from Maju Holdings, the same guy who sponsored the 55,000 people dinner in Klang a few days ago, Tan Sri Abu Said, he came out newspaper, see, I sponsor 55,500 tables for diners in Klang. Tan Sri Abu Said, he has sold the Max Expressway for how much? 1.7 billion ringgit. 1.7 billion ringgit. And how much was his own penqian, his own capital? 60 million ringgit. He invested 60 million ringgit, took a 300 million ringgit loan, the rest paid for by the government, and now he's selling his concession for 1.7 billion ringgit, making 1 billion ringgit clean. Net profit after 6 years. Invest 60 million, get 1 billion profit in 6 years. I really joined the wrong party. But the reason why Tan Sri Abu Said sponsored that 55,000 people dinner in Klang is so that we do not come into power. Because he knows that if we come into power, we will immediately take back the Max Expressway, because we just need to pay 360 million to buy back the highway. No need to pay more. The contract says very clearly, we will pay to buy back the highway net of what we have already paid. Which means we only need to pay the balance of 300 over million. Okay lah, we pay the 300 over million, you take back your capital, a bit of profits that you have made for the last few years, the rest, give it back to the government, give it back to the people. We will not let cronies like Tan Sri Abu Said run away with 1 billion ringgit of the people's money for no damn reason. What else? Our country is full of highway stories. I can find one whole night telling you every highway story. In the manifesto of Barisan Nasional, they promised we will build a new highway from Taiping to Banting, West Coast Expressway. Actually, it's not a promise. They have already awarded the contract. They awarded the contract to this company called Kumpulan Europlus. For those who knows Kumpulan Europlus, it belongs to the same boss as Talam Corporation. Tan Sri Chanachai, yes. They got the contract to build this 200-kilometer highway. How much was it? 5.3 billion ringgit, the value of the highway. Now I want to tell you, Kumpulan Europlus, is it a highway company? How big is this company? Last year, the revenue was less than 30 million ringgit. Losses was 20 million ringgit. Can get a 5.3 billion ringgit from this Barisan Nasional government. Got open tender or not? Don't have. Directly awarded. 5.3 billion ringgit contract. Of course, Tan Sri Chanachai very happy lah. Wow, got contract. How long is the concession period? 60 years. Record in history. I already see Chiao Kao buried underneath, my children still paying toll. Grandson still paying toll. Wow, 5.3 billion. Of course, if I'm Tan Sri Ta Chai, oh, very happy. Oh. But I have a problem. My company only 30 million ringgit revenue. How to get financing to build the highway? Which bank would lend me money to build this highway? Cannot get. So what did the government do? Don't worry, we take care of all our friends. You know, you don't have money to build, I lend you 2.3 billion ringgit soft loan first, no problems.
Help me, I help you.
I lend you 2.3 billion ringgit. But 2.3 billion ringgit, no, not enough, you know. The project 5.3, I still need to buy land all over the place in order to build the highway. So what did the government offer? Don't worry, we buy all the land for you. 960 million, the government foot the bill. So the government essentially is using the people's money to build the highway already. And yet again, after the highway is built, we have to pay toll for the next 60 years. Now they seem to have the concept of privatization entirely screwed. The purpose of privatization is government say, "Wo bo lui, I don't have money. You want the contract, you foot the bill yourself." The concept of privatization in Malaysia is terbalik. I got money, but I want to privatize. I give you money to build a highway. You make the money, make sure after that you know what to do lah. So this is the way the government has been robbing us dry. This is the reason why we believe that if we become the government of the day, we will save the people's money. Whatever that is saved, half will be returned to the people, the other half to cut the debt that Barisan Nasional has incurred over the past 56 years. And again, I want to emphasize that we are not talking or writing blank checks here. We have a simple track record over the past 5 years in Penang and in Selangor. We have shown that we are more than competent and far more competent than the previous Barisan Nasional administrators. Despite spending so much more on the people's welfare, to the extent that we had protests from Barisan Nasional when we want to give free water. Cannot, sure go bankrupt one Selangor if you give free water. But we have given free water 650 million for 5 years already. Tak bankrupt pun. Sebaliknya kita jadi lebih kaya. Everyone needs to memorize these figures. Tell all your friends in Johor. Our reserves increased from 700 million to 2,500 million in just 5 years. And that will be the same basis we will use to implement our manifesto. We will cut corruption, we will implement open tenders, we will get rid of all cronies, we will cut all wasteful projects. Whatever billions of ringgit that we will save, half will be used for the benefit of the rakyat immediately, such as buying back tolls, such as giving free higher education, such as reducing the price of cars, such as building more affordable homes, such as providing 1,000 ringgit to the elderly of this country. The other half we would use to reduce the government debt, cut government deficit, to ensure that the future of our children are protected. We do not want a government that continue to incur billions and billions and billions of ringgit of debt that we spend today in order to give you 2,000 ringgit brim or 1,200 ringgit brim. And then later tell our children, tell our grandchildren, sorry Papa, Mama incurred so much debt for you, you have to pay the taxes to the government now. So we want a government that is far-looking. We want a government that practices good governance, and we want to make sure that the future of our children and the future generations are protected. We hope the people of Selangor will stand with us, keep Selangor under Pakatan Rakyat, make sure that Barisan Nasional does not have a chance to rob the 2,500 million ringgit that we have saved over the last 5 years, and hopefully it doesn't disappear 1 year later. Make sure that the people of Johor, Melaka, Pahang, Terengganu knows the achievements of Penang and Selangor, and if they stand together with the people of Selangor, we will surely succeed come May the 5th. Can or not? Can or not? I need everyone's help here because it is a real threat. Over the next week, they will intensify the propaganda campaign to scare Malaysians into continuing to vote for Barisan Nasional. We want change and we must make it happen. Everyone here must do their part to ensure that the children, the future of our children will be protected. Can? Can? So can I say, ini kalilah? Ini kalilah? And for those who want to know Chinese, the favorite phrase in Johor now, everywhere. Take photos everywhere, how no? Take photos everywhere, must hold 2 hands up, 5 and 5. Oh yeah, oh. 1, 2, 哦耶哦，哦耶哦，我们要，哦耶哦，一定要。So thank you very much. Thank you everyone. We will see you again tomorrow and a few more days before voting day. 谢谢大家，nandri warakam, terima kasih, salam sejahtera.